the MJN Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. So excited to be here with the legendary DJ Skribble. Let's give it up. Yes. So Skribble.
Yes.
My God, how long have you been DJing?
How old are you?
Do I have to say? 39.
Before you were born.
Come on.
1980.
What?
I'm 55.
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
No, I'm 55.
Yeah, I do not believe that at
55?
all.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
So 1980, what happened? Give me the whole
I
rundown.
was 11 years old. I saw this dude DJing in the park, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And his name was DJ Squiggy, and I always give him props, big props to DJ Squiggy.
DJ Squiggy.
But because of him, I saw him doing what he was doing, and I wanted to do it. I was drawn to it, and I was terrible in the beginning, and that's I was. My first gig was at Roller Castle in Elmont, Long Island, and it was with Dr. Dre, Dougie Fresh, Public Enemy before they were Public Enemy, LL Cool J, a bunch of other artists, and I was opening for Dre, and I was horrible. I got kicked off the turntables in like 10 minutes. No, seriously, I was
How
terrible.
was that your first gig?
My sister worked at the roller rink.
Stop.
Yeah, so that's how I got the job, and I'll never forget, I was up in the DJ booth and Dre was on the floor with everybody. He looks up at me and goes, and he gave me that look like, one day, kid. And then I became good friends with Dr. Dre, and because of him, that's how I met Charlie Stetler, and that's how I got on Hot 97, and then MTV Raps. And,
Yep.
I was in a group called the Young Black Teenagers that was produced by Public Enemy and Hank Shockley. It was 5 white guys calling themselves Young Black Teenagers. I don't think that would work out too good today. But then it was okay. But
where'd the name come from in that? I mean,
Hank Shockley picked that. But we had a hit record called "Tap the Bottle and Twist the Cap." And then about 1993, I left the group, and then I was running around with Trey doing MTV Raps, and then I got on the morning show on Hot 97, and then 98 I got on MTV, and then the rest was history.
it's incredible. Just from seeing someone DJ in a park. I mean, that's incredible. Unbelievable. So, what did the relationship between you and Dre look like? I know, you met him at that party.
Dre, like when it was that way, I was homeless. I was homeless, living in my truck pretty much. Like I was sleeping on Dr. Dre's couch. I was sleeping on Craig Coleman's couch at Big Beat. At the time, he was running Big Beat Records, and now he's the chairman of Atlantic Records.
Stop.
And I was working for Big Beat, and then I was doing WRHU with Jeff Force, and sometimes I would do WBAU, which is Delphi with Wild Man Steve on Monday nights, doing college radio. And the big break kind of came, it was the New Music Seminar. Stretch Armstrong was supposed to DJ. It was at Chippendales, and they took over the whole place, and he got sick.
Oh, wow.
And I was literally homeless, living in I had an Amigo, and I had my records in the back of the truck, and they were like, "Scribs, you wouldn't happen to have your records, would you?" And I was like, "Actually, I do," and then I went in, I DJ'd, killed it, turned it out, and it was a big music industry party, and that was after I left the Teenagers, and that's when the industry realized, like, yo, who is this kid? And the rest was just like, that's when everybody started coming to me, and what's the word, magnetized?
Yeah, they were magnetized by you. Yeah.
And they started to recognize what I was doing, and I was doing a lot of different things, and not just playing hip hop. I was playing rock. I was mashing stuff up with rock and hip hop. Way before DJ AM. I know he gets the credit, and God bless AM. God rest his peace.
But I know you as a mashup DJ, and I love that about you. So, what made you do that? Like, have that style? And
I came from music. My dad was a doo-wop singer. So he was in the Ovations and the Velvetones. My grandmother loved opera, and that was my kind of introduction to music. My father would have like Street Corner Society, Johnny Maestro and the Brooklyn Bridge. They'd be at my house singing in the garage, and my dad didn't understand what I was doing, even though he was doing what he was doing with the music and stuff like that. Hip hop was so young, and especially 1980.
Was Dre yet?
Yeah, Dr. Dre, Keith Shockley, Hank Shockley, Spectrum City on WBAU on Adelphi. When I first met Flavor Flav, he was still working for Hempstead Sanitation.
Stop.
Public Enemy wasn't even Public Enemy yet. So
I love it.
It was an incredible situation, and then I was working at a place called Roger Stereo in Freeport when I met my first manager, Gary G. Wiz. And he said, Hank Shockley was putting this all-white rap group together. Do you know anybody that can MC? And I did. And my sister was dating Firstborn. I was best friends with Rodney Rivera, who was ATA, who became ATA. And then Hank put Cameron in the group. and Firstborn was friends with Tommy Never. So that's how the group was formed.
That's
and then,
crazy.
Yeah, and then our first record was, actually our first single on Soul MCA was called Proud to Be Black.
Stop.
Yeah, no, it was.
Come on. I mean, really, today, though, that would be...
Oh, God.
I mean, come on.
No,
You'd be canceled before it came out.
I'd be canceled in 2 seconds.
Yes.
But then it was fine. And then we had Nobody Knows Kelly. And our first album was called Dead Ends Kids. Our first album was called Meet the Teenagers. And it was the cover of Meet the Beatles.
Wow.
You know, with the half faces.
Yep.
And that was Hank Shockley's idea and Bill Stephanie. And then we did Dead Ends Kids doing lifetime bids. And then we had Tap the Bottle.
Oh,
and
amazing.
that record just...
Was it #1?
Yeah, we're #1. Yeah, I mean, when we came, we were doing a tour in Germany with the Brand Nubians, and we came home, and our first show back was at the Palladium in New York City.
Amazing.
And that's how we knew we had a hit. We didn't even know the record flew the way it did. And I'll never forget walking out into the Palladium, and there was 6,000 people just going nuts. Meanwhile, the first show we ever did, we were on tour with Public Enemy overseas, and it was EPMD, We Papa Girls, MC Tragedy, Public Enemy, and us. And we got there, and when they announced us, everybody went nuts. And then 5 white guys walked out calling themselves Young Black Teenagers. We got booed. Everybody threw shit at us. It was insane.
Stop.
You know, I got hit with a pair of sunglasses. I just put them on. I kept DJing. But by the time we got to Germany, people started to realize what was going on. And we did our whole first show before our album came out. We had 12 minutes, and we had 27 breakbeats that we did our show off of. And this is when ATA was still DJing, and Tommy Never was up front. And then when Tommy Never left the group, ATA went up front, and then I was the main DJ.
Oh, that's amazing. Unbelievable. So you played the best clubs in the world.
Yes.
New York City, the best clubs in the world. We're talking about almost every continent, right?
I've been in 60 countries.
Okay, 60 countries.
Yeah.
The best clubs in Manhattan, hands down, you run them. What has been the best experience for you? Someone who's so cultured and done so much.
When everybody asked me what was the most incredible experience of my life was when I was picked to be the first DJ ever to headline a USO tour. And I went to Iraq during the war back in 2010, and they wanted me to bring a support act. I asked so many different artists that I knew, and they all said no. And then I bumped into Tretch at the DJ Expo in Atlantic City, and it was during the time they were having one of the shows. And I said, "Hey, man, I have Bernie Rohn, who was running the USO at the time. God rest in peace." He was like, "I was like, yo, I have this opportunity to go to Iraq to play for the troops. You want to come?" He's like, "When are we leaving?"
Oh, I love
so I, it was me, Naughty by Nature,
Yep.
and we went over to Iraq for almost about a month, and we did all these bases over there. And the most gratifying show I ever did, we were on this FOB, which is a forward operating base on the border of Syria, and I DJ'd in a mess tent, like meaning where they have food for 40 troops. The CEO, the commanding officer comes out after that. He rips his combat patch off his arm and he goes, "This has been in a lot of shit, and I'm giving this to you because you came to see me." I was like, "Thank you so much." But that was like one of the most incredible, and I've gotten to do a lot of firsts, from MTV and the things I've done on MTV with your MTV Raps, then MTV Jams and Cisco Shakedown and TRL and all the things I've been blessed to do. And then living in 2 worlds from hip hop and dance music at the same time.
I know.
And still, this many years later, to still be relevant in this kind of business with this, when everything is social media and TikTok and different things like that, and still be relevant to so many generations that I've played for. Like I've been doing this for 4 decades. I know. I mean, my 25th anniversary at spring break, I'll never forget. I was getting ready to do the city, and this girl came up to me. She's like, "My mom came to see you in 1999, and she said if you are still here, DJ, I needed to see you." I was like, "What's her name?" But no, seriously. But it was one of those things that, it really hit home to me, like that I've touched that many people across the world.
The world.
Before social media, before, when you wanted to, if you knew who DJ Skribble was at that time, you had to have a physical copy of a piece of vinyl or a cassette tape or a CD, or, there was no, now today, you just click that enter button on your computer, you're global.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's true. It's so funny when I heard you were here today, I was like, no way. Like, you are a legend in the game.
Thank
Seriously,
you. Thank
truly.
you.
And I mean that. And so you've touched so many lives, so many people. And just to go overseas and do that is such an honor and incredible. Talking about today, you know, TikTok versus now and then you had to be in the scene. You had to be out. If you weren't out, you weren't doing anything. It was like you had to have, you know, be in the club.
And, you know, it's a blessing and a curse with the social media, because what's great about it, there's so much talent that you do see that you would have never discovered without these social media platforms. But then there's just some of them that I'm like, all right, why do they have 5 million followers? And I have no idea what they're doing.
Because one video went viral, but they're not talent. And for people like you, it's like, yo, I hustled so hard to get my position.
But
and
I don't hate, but I don't hate, because it's evolution.
It is.
I love technology. I love the way the whole, you know, the culture is evolved. But, you know, nowadays, you know, the DJ culture, hip hop culture, it's not a culture anymore.
Right.
It's just big business.
Yep. Absolutely. What's been like your most iconic moment in your career? You talked about Iraq. I want to hear about the nightclub business. And
I mean, the most iconic moment that I've had, I guess, would be 1999 at MTV, when they gave me, DJ Slinky, and JS1 right before the countdown and the millennium to have literally 6 minutes of airtime on the biggest TV station at the time.
Yeah.
To bring in 2000. And do a 6 turntable routine for 6 minutes of airtime on MTV. And then telling Dave Sorolnik, I remember when we were doing rehearsals, he's like, so can you show me what you guys are gonna do? And I was like, no. I literally told him.
What'd he say?
He's like, you mean to tell me that we're gonna be live and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people are gonna watch this, and you're not gonna show us what? I'm like, we'll go through it, but I'm not gonna show you.
That's great.
And he was like, okay. And, you know, and he trusted us that much and trusted me that much to do that. And that was one of the most iconic nights I ever had. I mean, we had so many different big monster artists up there to bring in the new year. And it was up to these 3 DJs to do a 6 turntable routine that nobody ever even seen. And that was, like, to me, one of the most iconic moments that I've had.
That's amazing. Who joined you that night? Who were some of the artists?
DJ Slinky. Oh, my God. I mean, obviously, the whole MTV crew, Tyrese, Ananda, Carson Daly, everybody. And I think Kid Rock went on at 12 o'clock. But, I mean, there was so many. I mean, I think, not Limp Bizkit. I think Smashing Pumpkins was up there that night.
It's amazing.
Mandy Moore. I mean, there was so many. It was just... I mean, that was when MTV was still playing music. It was MTV, not the reality show that it is today.
Absolutely. And that night, I can't imagine. I mean, that's just not just a new year. That's the millennium. That was
the
an
millennium
moment.
I mean, everybody at 12 o'clock held their breath like, okay, everything's going to shut off. All the computers going to stop. Everything. The world's going to end. You know what I mean? So, and then 12 o'clock hit and we were just fine.
Yeah, we were hanging out. We were like, all right, it's going to be 12:10. But nope, it was all right. I remember that. You know, you've worked with so many people, made so many records, produced so many songs, played in tons of clubs. Who's been your favorite person to work with? I know you still have a great relationship with Dre, right?
Yes.
And still do so much with so many hip hop artists and dance artists.
Yes.
So how do you kind of navigate both those waters? And who's your favorite person to work with?
To me, the definition of a DJ is not just one genre of music. It's what the people that are out there to see you want to hear. And I don't want, and it's not. I mean, unfortunately, it's been a lot watered down and saturated. Where, you know, when I was on radio and doing even MTV at first, you know, it was like, go.
Right.
There wasn't a playlist. There wasn't, okay, you can only play these records from this record label. It was whatever we wanted to do. And you were able to not be like a teacher, but you were educating musically, you know, people that may not have seen true underground house music. And I was one of the first people to do that on MTV.
Yeah.
And, you know, you had Dave Morales and Louis Vega, who also did it too on the grind. But, like, on that mainstream circuit, you know, when we're doing, Global Grooves or Club MTV or The Grind or Cisco Shakedown and all these different shows I was able to do, it was motivational for me to be like, okay, all these eyes are on me now. Like, how do I change your emotion? Like, you know, I wanted to make you forget about where you were, if you were upset, if you were mad, or if, you know, I wanted to take you on a musical ride.
Yep.
And back then, I mean, I would DJ 6-8 hour sets.
I know.
You know, where today that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
I still love doing that. You know what I mean? I don't want to, when someone hires me, like, okay, we're going to hire you for 2 hours. And I'm like, and then that 2 hours is up, but the crowd is still rocking. I'm like, yo, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? You'll still play? I'm like, but we're not going to pay you anymore. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm here to
please the
entertain
people
you
and entertain.
please the people and make you shake your ass.
Exactly, absolutely. So mashups, favorite mashup of all time. That is so hard. I've seen you play in
My
arena.
favorite mashups of all time would be the ones I did with Dave Navarro.
Okay.
I mean, we had a whole tour that we did.
Yep.
You know, so we went on tour, and I mean, we mashed up, you know, Black Sabbath with Biggie. We mashed up, you know, Rage Against the Machine with Jay-Z.
Love it.
Sexy Back with Teenage Wasteland, which you'll hear tonight. You know, so those were like the favorite
We
ones that
are
I've
doing
done.
a TikTok with one of those mashups tonight.
Oh,
I'm sure it's on
absolutely.
TikTok.
I
We got to
can't
do
wait.
it.
I'm so excited
Absolutely.
to see you live.
Absolutely. I will say, you know, music is such a big part of everybody's life, and it's definitely changed so much. You know,
Yes.
Genres are intertwined now like
Yes,
never before,
absolutely.
which is great.
Yes.
Which is a great thing. Where do you see the future of hip hop and house and all the other genres that you've touched?
I mean, hip hop today. Like, I don't want to bash it. It's just not. It's not what it was.
Right.
It's not. You know, like in the '90s and the 2000s. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm my dad on a soapbox, but it was like a Bob Ross painting. There was so many different flavors and colors. Like if Mobb Deep came on, or Wu-Tang came on, or Mace, Craig Mack, Biggie, KRS-One, Rocket, you knew from first beat, first lyric who those people were.
Yep.
Today, unfortunately, I don't know whether it's the drugs they're doing or whether it's what it is, but it's just the tempo is way down. The bar of being a lyricist and being, I don't want to say talented because these kids are just doing it differently. Everybody just sounds the same, and there's no color to it. There's no color to it. Where the difference though in house music, and even to this day, not EDM so much, where EDM has become commercial.
Right.
It's Monster, it's big business. I love David Guetta, I love
Me
Tiesto,
too.
I love Diplo, I love all these guys.
Yep.
You know, they all have their own flavors. But with house music, they still want to hear new music.
It's true.
They still want to hear, when they go to a club or a festival, they want to hear things they've never heard before, where the mainstream and the hip hop, it's like they want to hear what's just on the radio.
Yeah.
And I like to play new stuff that you never heard before. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yep. So new music. I know you got some new music coming out.
Yes, I partnered up with a good friend of mine named Dom Tafaro, who's from the Bronx.
I know Dom. I know Dom. I did records with Dom. Get
She
the
knows
hell
everything.
out of here.
Hold on.
No,
Stop
no
it. Stop
way.
it. Stop it. Stop
Yo,
it.
Get
Stop.
Dom on the phone.
Stop it right
He's
now.
my boy.
No, you stop
Yo,
it.
I cannot believe you're working with Dom. What?
Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
Oh, I can't wait. That's it. We're doing something. This.
Hi, buddy. Do you know that person sitting next to me? Yeah, she's interviewing me right now for iHeartRadio. Hold on
I
a
need to
second.
miss you.
What's up?
How are you?
She said she did records with you.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you know him? I'm like, no, we did records together.
Yeah, you see, you can tell them I know people too.
Yeah, you're famous. You're famous right now.
That's it. Dom's my boy. We did a lot of songs together.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Dom is the best, though. Because I know him from Ruben.
Yeah.
So it's all the same group.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
knows everybody. It's
That's
crazy.
connected.
You're working with Dom
I've been
Tafaro.
working with Dom for the last 5 years. We're doing this project called Street Slang, which is
Okay.
like all underground house, techno, and just like soulful house and
Yep.
stuff like that. And because I've always loved living in both worlds, and it's been amazing. I mean, we have so many DJs playing our stuff, from Danny Tenaglia to
amazing.
Oscar G to Joseph Caparati, and we just saw, actually today, we just released an EP on Yusef's label, which is
Awesome.
out of the UK on Circus Records.
Amazing.
We have a 3-record EP that we just released, and you know, I think I've done everything I possibly could do with hip hop, you know, and culminating with the MTV Raps 30th anniversary at the Barclays Center, which I produced and was the creative director on, and I'm like, I want to do something more, and I still love house music so much because the energy is so different, and it's just, yeah,
Greatest.
I get that, you know, I mean, unfortunately, like, most people their first experience with house music is a festival, and not like seeing a Danny Tenaglia or a Carl Cox or someone just a Louis Vega rocking out for 6 hours in a club and taking you on a ride, twisting you, turning you like a roller coaster. So when we created Street Slang, we wanted to get back to that. So we actually, for Street Slang, we go under Tafaro and Lacci.
Awesome.
So people don't get like mistaken because they hear Skribble and they're gonna be like, oh, MTV, mainstream, hip hop. So I use, my last name's Ialacci, so I use Lacci for Street Slang.
I love that. So Street Slang, really, really, really cool. And so new music, and what else to come? What do you see in the next 5 years?
I mean, I'm actually filming a movie next month in Memphis, Tennessee, my first film that I'm filming. Exciting. I do a lot of music for film and television as well. I just love being in this business and just being blessed to still do this after all this time and still be relevant. And granted, anybody under 35 pretty much has no clue who I am, but but all kidding aside, that that I'm still able to continue on the path I am. And when I see kids come up to me and be like, I became a DJ because I saw you on so-and-so, or I became a DJ when I heard this record that you did.
Yep.
And that's what still makes me want to do it.
I love that so much. So amazing. So you said something earlier that hit home too. You do it more for people, right? You love to move the crowd and taking them on a roller coaster. What does that look like to you? How do you do that as a DJ? Because I know a lot of DJs want to understand the secret sauce. You have
to look at the room. I mean, even with doing stuff with Anthony right now, with Anthony Rodia, I mean, it's actually more challenging because his audience is from like 21 to 70.
Yeah.
So I'll play Outstanding, and then I'll play like some James Brown and some disco, and then if I see the crowd's rocking, I'll go into a little R&B and hip hop. So every night is different. For me, I don't go into making like a set playlist. I go in looking at the crowd and go, what do I think they're gonna do? And sometimes I fail. Not a fail, but sometimes I'm like, that record didn't work, and I'll get out of it. But when I see what's working, and then I just take it from that.
I love it. So back to going back to the arena days, to play the New York City house club days, right? And taking them on a ride. There's been so many DJs. You mentioned Danny Tenaglia, so many others. And if you haven't been there, you're missing out, because those were the days.
It'll never be like that.
Never be like that again. Best moments of my life.
I mean, back then when you wanted to hear a certain style of music, there was no, there was no Spotify, there was no SoundCloud, there was no any of that. It was like, if you wanted like that hard underground tribal, you went to Twilo and saw Danny.
Yep.
You wanted, that crazy hard progressive, you went to go see Jonathan Peters at Sound Factory. If you wanted those big vocals and remixes, you went to Arena to see Junior. Junior Vasquez, to me, I didn't like house music when I first.
Really?
No.
What?
No.
Why?
I was a hip hop junkie.
Come on.
So how I got on Hot 97 first before the morning show. Glenn Fisher was leaving Hot 97. Steve Smith and Tracy Clarity came to me like, we have a show for you. I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to play hip hop.
You're like, I'm down.
I'm
like
the number one.
I'm
going to play hip hop on Hot 97. They're like, okay, we have a show for you. And it's going to be Saturday nights, prime time. I'm like, oh my God.
Absolutely.
And then they were like, but you can't play hip hop. I said, what? You can't play hip hop.
That's all I know.
I'm like, what do you want me to play? Country? I'm like, what do you want to do? You have to play house dance music, and I'm like, ew. And just like 94. And I was like, I didn't know what
I can't believe it started in 94, though. That started in 94,
no,
like the
it
dance?
Started way before that.
Yeah, well,
I'm saying I started
You
that.
started in 94. Gotcha.
So that's that, and my first gig was in the Palladium live on Hot 97 because they were doing all the live broadcasts at that time. And I took DJ Razor with me, and he was literally hand feeding me the records. And I didn't know what the hell I was playing. I did it good. But then they took me one night, Sound Factory had just closed, and Junior did his first night at the Tunnel. So they took me to see Junior, and I walked in, and I saw this sea of people at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the hell? and I watched this man play for 12 hours, and you knew if he was angry, you knew if he was happy. He was P.T. Barnum, and you were a character in his circus. And that's how I kind of learned how to play house music, and that's when I took that and incorporated the drama and the production and that tension and release into hip hop, which never was done.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, I would get to these clubs and I'd be like, back then there was no lighting guy for a hip hop DJ.
Right.
And I'm like, where's the lighting guy? I was like, I need a lighting guy. Because I'd be like, block it out here, do this here, do that here.
Yep.
Because I wanted to play with these people's emotions, even with hip hop.
Yep.
And then I loved house music so much, I fell in love with it so much, I wanted to be the first DJ to live in both worlds simultaneously, equally. And I was already on MTV at that point, so that's when I started playing a lot more house on MTV and a lot of records that would never have gotten the light, you know, and these labels started to like, Skribble, could you get this, could you do this, do this? And I started, that's when I did, you know, I did the Traffic Jams album, then I did the MDMA album with Anthony Acid, which was all house music. Then I did the Essential Mix with Pete Tong, you know, and then Dance Mix USA and all these other different albums.
Dance Mix USA is classic. Everything you're talking about is the biggest things in the world, you know, biggest things coming out of New York, and you're a part of all of them. What was it like doing Dance Mix USA? I
mean, I had a ball doing all of them. I mean, it was just like, I wanted to throw my flavor on it and my spin on all these different records. I mean, you know, when Flex came out, let's say with his 60 Minutes of Funk, it wasn't like a mix. They called it a DJ mix, but it really wasn't. It was dope. It was cool. But I wanted to take it a step further. So like the first Traffic Jams was a mix of original records and licensed music. And then when I did Traffic Jams 2, it was all original.
That's cool.
You know, but I still took it and DJ'd it like a mix CD. Because I wanted it to be continuous and make sense. And even before, like, these kids are using what's called mix and key when you mix harmonically, and everything was in key with each other, so everything kind of married each other. Coming from my father, being the singer he was, and the harmonies and different things like that, I always was into harmonically mixing. You know, which a lot of guys didn't do. Only the dance guys did, not the hip hop guys. You know, sometimes they'll take a blend and they'll rock an acapella over this hip hop beat. It would sound like like cats on a chalkboard. You know, I always wanted it to sound sweet, never sour.
If you could leave one thing with the public, what would it be?
Like I said, leaving one thing with the public, I mean, my legacy in hip hop is set, you know what I mean? But everything that I've ever done, and I've had a lot of firsts, and the fact that I've touched lives from Queens to Japan, you know, and all over the world, and people got to see me, and some of them became DJs because they saw what I did, I'm good.
See?
It ain't about the money to me. It never was. I'm glad I made a lot of money. I mean, I do very well for myself, but the lives that I've gotten to touch and the people that I've gotten to meet and see and different cultures across the world, you know, we live in the United States of America, which is the greatest country in the world, but there's this big planet that we live on. And getting to see, you know, all these different cultures, but the one thing that brings us all together was music.
That's right.
And that's all that mattered to me.
That's how you get farther too, when you like actually care about it. You're not just in it for the money.
Exactly. All right, so we know what's coming on the production side. What's to come on the arena side, and what are some amazing things you want to do and accomplish still?
I still love production. I still love making music. I wanted to score films. I think that's where I really want to be.
It's got the chills.
And take, I mean, I've done a few different trailers. I've done a few scenes. You know, so to me, it's just to keep pushing the envelope musically and pushing the envelope, me as a DJ and a producer and an artist, and challenge myself to do things outside of my comfort zone sometimes. There's more failures in this business than there are successes. This is the way it is. But those successes are what keep you going, and the failures don't matter.
That's so true. Oh my God, I've learned so much, and you're just a light. You're amazing. Congratulations for everything. If you have not met my friend DJ Skribble, you're missing out. Make sure you check him out. Where can they find you online?
Instagram at DJ Skribble. DJSKRIBBLE. Pretty much everything. Twitter, well, X is DJ Skribble. Facebook, DJ Skribble. SoundCloud, DJ Skribble. Street Slang is on SoundCloud as well. Spotify, Apple Music, all of that.
All right, make sure you check them out. And best mashup DJ there is, and so much more. Legend in hip hop, legend in house and dance. And I'm just so privileged to meet you tonight. Thank you so much. Go kill it out there.
I am.
And we'll see you soon. And make sure you check out Red right here.